Imagine the bustling courtyard of the temple in Jerusalem. Sunlight streams down, glinting off the polished stones, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. A cacophony of sounds fills the space, the murmur of prayers, the low hum of conversations, the distant bleating of sacrificial lambs. People from all walks of life move with purpose, some deep in devotion, others simply observing. In one corner, near the 13 chests designated for offerings, trumpet-shaped receptacles, each for a different purpose, sits Jesus. He isn't preaching or healing at this moment. He's simply watching, observing, and his gaze is particularly fixed on these chests where people are bringing their gifts. He sees the procession of the wealthy. They arrive with a certain air, their robes perhaps a little finer, their steps a little more confident. And as they approach the chests, they open their purses, their hands dipping in to pull out sizable sums, large copper coins, gleaming silver, perhaps even gold. There's a distinct clinking and ringing as the coins drop into the metal receptacles, echoing loudly, announcing their generous contribution to all within earshot. They give much, and indeed, it is much. By all human standards, their offerings are impressive, substantial. Then, among the steady stream of people, a different figure approaches. She is a woman, small in stature, her clothes simple, worn, perhaps even patched. There's no entourage, no grand procession. Her face bears the lines of hardship, of a life lived through struggle and loss. For she is a widow, one of the most vulnerable members of that society. She moves quietly, almost unnoticed by the bustling crowds. Her gaze is not on the people around her, nor on the size of the chests. It is focused, steady on the act she is about to perform. She reaches into a small, simple pouch, perhaps the only thing of value she possesses. Her fingers, gnarled and thin, pull out not a handful of coins, not even a single silver piece, but 2 tiny copper coins, 2 leptas. These were the smallest coins in circulation, barely worth anything, perhaps enough for a meager morsel of bread. With a quiet, almost reverent motion, she drops them into one of the trumpet-shaped chests. There's no loud clinking, no resounding echo, just a whisper of a sound, almost lost in the general temple noise. 2 tiny coins, a fleeting moment, and then she turns and quietly fades back into the crowd, her offering seemingly insignificant. But Jesus, who had been watching the rich with a calm, discerning eye, now turns his full attention to this solitary woman. He calls his disciples closer. "Come here," he says, his voice gentle but firm, carrying an undeniable weight of revelation. "I want you to see this." And then he speaks words that must have stunned them, words that would forever redefine the very nature of true generosity. "Truly I tell you," he declares, "this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others." Imagine the confusion on the disciples' faces. More? How could 2 small copper coins be more than piles of silver and gold? Their human logic, their understanding of value would have been utterly challenged. Jesus explains, "For all of them gave out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." This is the heart of the unseen gift. The rich, though giving large sums, were giving from their surplus. Their lives would not be significantly impacted by their donation. They still had plenty left over. But this widow, she gave everything, every single coin. Her very sustenance for the day, perhaps for the week, was now in that temple treasury. Her act was not a gesture of charity from a comfortable position. It was an act of profound, radical trust and sacrifice. It was an act born not of calculation, but of devotion. This isn't a story about the size of our bank accounts or the numbers on our receipts. It's a profound lesson in God's math, which operates on an entirely different principle than ours. Human math measures quantity. God's math measures quality, the quality of the heart behind the giving. It reminds us that God doesn't need our money. He owns everything. What He desires is our heart. He values sincere sacrifice, not because He wants us to be destitute, but because it reveals the depth of our faith, our trust, and our love for Him. It shows that we believe He is our provider and that His purposes are more important than our comfort or security. This lesson stretches far beyond monetary contributions. It asks us to examine how we give our time, our talents, our energy, our love. Are we giving out of our abundance, keeping most of ourselves for ourselves? Or are we giving our two mites, that precious, often challenging everything we have to offer in a particular moment? Are we giving what is convenient or what is costly? The widow's story is a timeless reminder that our worth in God's eyes isn't measured by our possessions or our public display. It's measured by the posture of our heart. It challenges us to reconsider what true generosity looks like and what it truly means to trust. In God's economy, a small, quiet act of genuine sacrifice, offered with a pure heart, can outweigh the grandest gestures given without true devotion. This is God's math. Why little given from the heart truly is more. So, as you reflect on this story, consider, what are your two mites? What is that small yet significant gift you can offer today, not out of abundance, but out of a deep and sincere desire to give your very best? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this profound story. How does it challenge your perspective on giving? Share your reflections in the comments below. If this message resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more stories that explore faith, meaning, and the deeper truths of life. And join us next time as we continue to uncover the unseen gifts all around us.